Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Kini News. It is now day 6 of the political crisis that has gripped the country following a failed coup attempt on Sunday. And it looks like there is no decision made yet. The palace has released a statement this evening. The young di-Pertuan Agong was still unable to conclude on which MP commanded majority support of the Dewan Rakyat. In a statement today, Comptroller of the Royal Household Ahmad Fadli Shamsuddin said that Istana Negara will contact the heads of political parties with MPs to give them an opportunity to nominate names of Dewan Rakyat members for the post of Prime Minister. This development could potentially spark another round of nominations and interviews. The Agong had interviewed all MPs on Tuesday and Wednesday following the collapse of the Pakatan Harapan federal government. The Agong has also consented to the Dewan Rakyat Speaker's decision to not call for a special sitting on the 2nd of March. Dewan Rakyat Speaker Muhammad Arif Muhammad Yusof was summoned twice to the Istana Negara today. Earlier, he had announced that he could not allow the March 2nd sitting announced by Interim Prime Minister Dr Mahathir Mahathir as it did not comply with the standing orders. Earlier, Interim Prime Minister Dr Mahathir Mahathir had also received criticism over his announcement on the special parliament sitting from various parties, including from UMNO. UMNO Secretary General Anwar Musa said that Interim Prime Minister Dr Mahathir Mahathir's call for a special parliament sitting to determine MP support was improper and disrespects the young di-Pertuan Agong. In a Twitter post today, he said that all MPs must say no to the March 2nd special sitting as announced by the Interim Prime Minister. Anwar stated that it is unconstitutional, procedurally improper and disrespects the young di-Pertuan Agong. UMNO, along with its BN allies and PAS for now, are in favour of a dissolution of parliament, while Harapan wants to restore the previous government it had led. However, Mahathir has proposed a new unity government that will not abide by party lines, something which both sides of the divide does not agree to. Past President Abdullah Awang also commented on the parliament sitting, and he believes that the best option in the light of the current political situation is to hold a snap general election. Past President Abdullah Awang has claimed that there are attempts to buy the support of federal lawmakers in light of the current political impasse. Therefore, he said the best option is to dissolve parliament and hold a snap general election.
Dia begitulah balik pada rakyat. Nak beli rakyat lah. Yang beli wakil rakyat, beli rakyat.
Jadi maknanya kalau buka pagi
nak beli rakyat lah, rakyat nak jual diri ke apa itu ke rakyat lah. Bomba parlimen.
Hadi said that PAS had wanted to table a vote of confidence for the interim Prime Minister Dr Mahathir Mahathir during the coming parliament sitting, but this is met with opposition from various quarters. Therefore, he reiterated that the issue should be resolved through the ballot box. After the meeting today, Bersatu has announced that they will nominate Muhyiddin Yassin as their Prime Minister candidate. There was also a surprise in the number of MPs at that said meeting. Bersatu will be nominating their party president Muhyiddin Yassin as their Prime Minister candidate for the King's consideration. This was revealed in a statement by Bersatu Secretary General Marzuki Yahya. Marzuki said that this was decided at the meeting between Bersatu lawmakers and the party chairperson Dr Mahathir Mahathir at Yayasan Al-Bukhari today. He did not state if this was a unanimous decision, but said that 36 Bersatu MPs attended the meeting. Bersatu only has 26 MPs, including Mahathir, which has led to speculation that Azmin Ali and 9 other MPs have joined the party. Mahathir had been pushing to form a unity government that transcends party lines and is unwilling to work with UMNO en bloc. However, he said that Muhyiddin had a more relaxed stance and is willing to work with UMNO as a party. Malaysia had no new cases of the COVID-19 coronavirus since the 15th of February, and the previous 22 cases had fully recovered. However, that started to change just last night. After over a week without any new infections, Health Ministry Director General Nur Hisham Abdullah broke the news that Malaysia had recorded 3 new cases of COVID-19 within 24 hours. The patients, who are Japanese, Italian and Malaysian respectively, brought the total cases of COVID-19 in Malaysia to 23. The Malaysian patient had travelled to Japan last month. Both Japan and Italy have been badly hit by the outbreak. To date, Italy has recorded 650 cases, while Japan has recorded 186 cases. Globally, COVID-19 has to date infected 83,272 and claimed 2,858 lives. Former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak is no stranger to both the local and foreign media, making appearances on news channels all over the world as the 1MDB scandal made headlines. And now, he's coming to Netflix. A rare sit-down with former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak. That's the blurb on an episode of the Netflix investigative series Dirty Money. The episode, titled Man at the Top, directed by Zach Heinzerling, will be part of the second season of the series, set to premiere on the 11th of March. The trailer of the series, which focuses on corporate and government corruption, featured a short snippet of what appeared to be an interview with Najib, who is currently sitting on trial for allegedly abusing money from 1MDB and its former subsidiary SRC International. He is also on trial for allegedly tampering with an audit report on 1MDB. The blurb also explains the episode as, quote, an inside look at how billions swindled from a Malaysian foreign wealth fund known as 1MDB were used to line the pockets of an international cast of power players, including Hollywood celebrities, Goldman Sachs executives, and the highest members of the Malaysian government. Up next on the program, countries around the world are stepping up their game to contain the global COVID-19 outbreak. East Africa is now in a race against time to get rid of the worst locust infestation in generations. All that and more after the break. The race to contain the coronavirus has reached a new level of urgency. In Japan, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe called for all schools to close from Monday until the spring break late in March to contain the outbreak. Hopes for the COVID-19 coronavirus to be contained within China vanished on Friday as infections spread rapidly around the world. From Iran to Australia, schools are being shut and big events are being cancelled. This week, the number of new infections around the world surpassed those inside China for the first time. The World Health Organization said the crisis has reached a decisive point and nations should prepare.
Our message continues to be that this virus has pandemic potential, and WHO is providing the tools to help every country to prepare accordingly. This is not a time for fear. This is a time for taking action now to prevent infections and save lives.
In Japan, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said that Japan's entire school system, from elementary to high school, will be asked to close from Monday until the spring break late in March to help contain the coronavirus outbreak. The number of cases in Japan rose on Thursday to more than 200, up from the official tally of 186 late on Wednesday. The cases reported do not include 705 reported from an outbreak on the Diamond Princess cruise liner that was quarantined off Tokyo earlier this month. Japan is scheduled to host the 2020 Olympics in July, but the head of the WHO's emergency program, Dr Mike Ryan, said that discussions were being held with the organizers about whether it should go ahead. The coronavirus has played havoc with global aviation and tourism as airlines cancel flights, countries ban visitors from hotspots, and nervous passengers put off travel. Villages on the coast of Myanmar are at risk of disappearing as sea levels rise and extreme weather accelerates natural erosion. Now we take a look at one of the villages that have already been affected.
3 years ago, the residents of Tadaryu village watched as the Setaung River on Myanmar's southeast coast crept closer to them, with powerful tidal waves eroding its banks. Eventually, the 1,500 residents had to accept the inevitable and move several kilometers inland, leaving behind farmlands they had lived on for decades. After their homes fell into the sea, the people of Tadaryu, mostly rice farmers, scattered across the delta. Saltwater contaminated their lands, and they were forced to take up new occupations with little success. Nearly 200 students now travel hours every day to attend school after their own, which once stood near the town center, was reduced to a crumbling pile of rubble on the riverbank. Officials say rapid erosion has already destroyed 10 villages in the past 4 years. Sea levels are projected to rise by about 13 centimeters this year, putting at risk about 2.5 million coastal residents. Myanmar's Climate Change Department has drafted plans to address rising waters, but is not involved in resettling those that have been displaced.
Countries in East Africa are racing against time to prevent new swarms of locusts wreaking havoc with their crops and livelihoods after the worst infestation in generations.
In northern Kenya, the next generation of locusts are already being born, and now countries in East Africa are racing against time to hold back the impending invasion. A lack of expertise in controlling the pests is not their only problem. Governments are struggling to cope with the pests as they deal with violence and a lack of supplies. Kenya ran out of pesticides. Ethiopia needs more planes. And Somalia and Yemen, torn by civil war, can't guarantee the safety of exterminators.
It is a big threat. It is the biggest threat. Much as we say drought is a threat, much as we say that floods can be a threat, but if you are trying to rank them, I think they are all threats, but desert locust situation is an unprecedented threat on food security.
A single square kilometer swarm of locusts can eat as much food in a day as 35,000 people. If left unchecked, the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO, has warned that the number of locusts in East Africa could explode by 500 times by June. That would devastate harvest in a region where more than 19 million people already face food shortage. In Uganda, the government had deployed the military to help spray trees in the morning before the locusts take flight. And Kenya has trained hundreds of youth cadets to spray. Lacking pesticides, some security forces in Somalia have shot anti-aircraft guns at swarms darkening the skies. The FAO said containing the plague will cost at least $138 million. So far, donors have pledged $52 million. Failure means more hunger in a region already battered by conflict and climate shocks.
Now, before we go, here are some other headlines from today. And that's all we have time for, ladies and gentlemen. For more stories, you can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook to get the latest news updates. I'm Daniel Anthony. Thank you for watching. And now to wrap up, we give you a look at the Ugandan army joining forces with farmers in North Uganda in their ongoing battle against the swarms of locusts threatening their food supplies. Have a great weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Good night. Udah,